Hello, Cinema back. Another dish. How we doing out there? Good, great, grand, and wonderful. As you see on your dial screen, however, you are joining us today. I thank you. Us. Just me. Just me. Versus, as you see. Versus. One of the most batshit insane movies you will ever see in your time, I promise you. So batshit insane. Refreshingly. And you know what? I think this movie came out in 2000. Don't know. Didn't prepare for this one. Long story short, I spent the better part of the morning. You don't care about this, but I'm going to tell you anyway. I spent the better part of the morning preparing for a completely different movie, which it'll come out. Fuck it. I'll probably do a double feature today just because I love you, ? No, I like to rip the Band-Aid off of things. Just get it done. Move on. But that'll come out later. I spent the better part of the mornings preparing for a different movie from China. This movie is from Japan. Long story short, I just got tired of waiting for the director to respond to inquiries about coming on the show. You know, no disrespect. He is something, I'm nothing. But I kind of dragged my feet on this one, and I was just like, you know what? We'll knock this out of the park right quick. I'll sell you on my enthusiasm, as I tend to do. But, I mean, this movie, it's aged 20 years. It is aged, I think, pretty well. Like, you'll probably think it looks like, you know, low budget, low production, which it was. It was. But so ahead of its time. So ahead of its time. Or maybe encapsulates everything about its time. But it was both a sensation not only in Japan, but internationally. Crowds just fucking loved it. I'll try to do this show justice. I'll sell you on my enthusiasm. Anyway, what is Versus? A mysterious face-off in a wooded clearing between two escaped convicts and a carload of sharply dressed yakuza holding a beautiful woman captive ends in hails of bullets and showers of blood. The location for this violent encounter is the mythic Forest of Resurrection, the site of the 444th portal of the 666 hidden gates that link this earthly domain to the netherworld. And it didn't get this name for nothing. As for the surviving prisoners' escapes with the girl into the darkness of the forest, disgruntled gangsters soon become the least of their worries as an earlier battle between a lone warrior against hordes of zombies. Let me rephrase this. A lone warrior against hordes of zombie samurai. Lone warrior against hordes of zombie samurai is carried over from the millennium ago into present day. Versus has director Ryuhei Kitamura, who's done Godzilla Final Wars and Midnight Meat Train. I believe Clive Barker wrote that one. And action star and fight choreographer Tak Sakaguchi. You know, it's funny. 20 years later, if I have been critical, which rarely am I. Like, sometimes, you know, I try to do a good job of just saying it's not for me. I try not to be like, oh, this film shit, whatever. In this particular case, I have been quite critical of a movie that I have told you about, Crazy Samurai 400 versus 1. You've heard me bang on that one a little bit. And, of course, Tak Sakaguchi is the main star of it. But, you know, I think if you go to that episode, and of course I rarely go back and listen to episodes unless somebody tells me, like, randomly, they're like, hey, I'm listening to this episode right now. Sometimes I'll be like, all right, what did I say? And I'll pull it up and kind of go through it. But anyway, I have been quite critical of a Tak Sakaguchi film called Crazy Samurai. And, you know, I think if you do listen to the episode, though, like, I think I give credit where credit's due. I don't think it's just a 100% shit fest. But I know that I have, on multiple occasions, after the fact, been like, ugh. Anyway, not so with this movie. This movie, I think, has aged like a fine wine, even with its low production value. I think I remember and I don't know if I'm ashamed to say this, but I'll come clean. When I did see this film many years ago, I didn't know what to make of it. I was like, this is fuck. And I will say, because it's a 20-year-old film, it's, as the years have gone on in my life, I try to do a good job of watching stuff from different countries. Only now I feel like I almost exclusively just watch stuff from Asia. But that's besides the point. I think maybe when I had first saw this, I wasn't familiar enough with kind of Japanese, not only Japanese filmmaking, but kind of ideologies and, what they find funny. And because there's a lot of humor in this that I think I almost turned a nose up at, and I still do for the most part on Asian jokes. They just, they're either the translation that we're getting is awful, which is totally possible, happens all the fucking time, drives me nuts. Even the movie that I was researching this morning, dude, there's how is it that when I search the same movie, the main character's name is 3 different names on 3 different sites? What the? And I would just like to include all different than what I heard when I watched the film. Anywho, the jokes don't cross over either because, terrible translation or just what we as cultures find funny just doesn't, we wouldn't. Or the Asians aren't funny people, which I don't believe that at all. So there's humor in verses throughout that I think I spat on when I first watched it, because I was just like, what? Like, there was some great scenes in it. I remember that when I first watched it, I was like, I've never seen anything like this. I do remember thinking that walking out of the theater. I don't think I saw it in the theater. I think I saw it on the DVD. But anyway, this. The jokes were there's still shit that's over the top, but the jokes for me played a lot better. Rewatching the Arrow video release, which was goddamn amazing. I expect nothing less from Arrow. So much good shit, as per usual. And it's a 2-discer. You get the theatrical cut and you get the Ultimate edition. I may have seen the Ultimate edition, the Ultimate versus. I may have saw that version first. Can't remember things. My memory isn't what it used to be, especially since after the crash. But yeah, a lot of the humor played a little bit better. A couple of the characters you just kind of got to. I remember when I first saw this, one of the characters, I was annoyed. What was it? Hold on, let me see what his name was. I was so annoyed. It might have been Kenji Matsuda. Yeah, let's go with Kenji Matsuda. Motorcycle riding, Yakuza with revolver, Yuichiro Arai. I don't think it was him. Crazy Yakuza with the amulet. No, these are actual, this is their character names, by the way, if you IMDb it. Crazy Yakuza with the amulet. Minoru Matsumoto. Yakuza with glasses. Kazuhito Oba, which wasn't him either. Red-haired assassin Takehiro Katayama. Long-haired female assassin Ayumi Yoshihara. One-handed cop. That was a pretty funny character. Actually, it was funny what happened to him, and the way they continue to play out the gag was funny. I think when I don't know if I turned my nose up at that particular character, but this time I was definitely, oh, this is hilarious. I don't know if my first viewing was that. Who else do we have in this? Toshihiro Kamiyaka, Yukihito Tanakato. Our main character is Tak Sakaguchi, and then I love this. Anytime you make the character simple like that, you want to know what the villain's name is? The Man. Just the Man. And then the girl that's in the forest is aforementioned, who was kidnapped. She's just called the girl. Remember in Drive, he doesn't have a name, right? With Ryan Gosling, not the one that I just had director Steve Wang on the show. Fucking legend, bro. Legend on the show, Steve Wang. Look at his fucking site. Go to his site, which I think is onyxforge.net or something like that. Or go to his IMDb. But if you go to his site, like, because he's still working, still does sculpting and, movie special effects, it'll blow your fucking mind. I cannot believe that guy was on my show. I geeked so hard. I uncomfortably geeked on that particular episode. I don't know if you guys listened to the Drive MVD release. Holy cow. I had 3 shirts in that show. That's never happened before. On film, I might add. So ridiculous. I am garbage. But when somebody told me, they were like, oh, you were really excited to see. Yep, I was really excited to talk to him. Very excited to talk to him. What else has Tak Sakaguchi from Versus been in? Well, his first credit was, believe it or not, Versus. Also, Tokyo Gore Police, Samurai Zombie, A Yakuza's Daughter Never Cries, Yakuza Weapon, a lot of Yakuzas, Clover, Kingdom, not the TV show on Netflix, not that one. Osaka Girl, Crazy Samurai, 400 vs. 1, Prisoners of the Ghostland, and more. And the man, played by Hideo Sakaki, Ju-on the Grudge, so the original Japanese version, not the U.S. version, Azumi, The Suicide Manual, Black Kiss, Godzilla Final Wars, Yakuza Ladies, Burning Desire, Love, Death, Black Angels, Red Blade, and many more. And what else? Chieko Misaka, who plays the girl. Versus was her first credit. She was also in Suicide Club and Suicide Manual. Ugh, the Japanese. Come on now. Isn't there a forest out there where there's a lot of that? A lot of the suicide, a lot of hangings in the forest and that. I should know this. I'm pretty sure, though, that there's a forest specifically that is known for. They just don't do that. Don't commit suicide. Just try to figure it out. One foot in front of the other now. She's also been in Curtain Call, Dual City. I gotta stop laughing at my own shit. It's not even that funny. She Is Alone, Midnight Ghost Story. Yeah, I think it was Kenji Matsuda, where circling way back, where his character, honestly, I wanted to walk out the first time I was watching this. I was like, this is so fucking over the top. This is so fucking cartoony. And now that I've seen a thing or two, and I say this loosely, kind of know a thing or two, about film and only film, nothing else. That you ask me life questions, I fail you. But stop laughing; it's not funny. I feel I've matured. My eye has matured a bit, and I think this is, as far as fun, like Suicide Squad fun, this is just a fucking goddamn fun movie. And now that cartoony character, it's still kind of abrasive, and it is very over the top, but I feel watching it, I think this is like the 3rd time now that I've seen it. Watching it now, it's different. I don't know. It plays a little bit better. It makes a little bit more sense. Whereas the first time I was just like, some of these characters are this is wild. And it still is wild. It still is fucking wild. A relentless, one-of-a-kind sensory assault, chock full of hyperkinetic fight scenes, gangster shootouts, sword slashing. Yeah, listen to this. This is how bad shit. I already mentioned the site of the 444th portal. Right? Portal of the 666 hidden gates. All right, well, this is a relentless, one-of-a-kind sensory assault, chock full of hyperkinetic fight scenes, gangster shootouts, sword-slashing violence, and gory zombie horror. Versus was a key title amongst the barrage of innovative horror and action movies that appeared as if from nowhere from Japan as the turn of the millennium. leading to a new wave of appreciation of Asia Extreme cinema. I just mentioned Asia Extreme on some show, Suicide Squad, or fucking might have been Suicide Squad, talking about a little bit of the old ultra-violence. And it is extreme. What kind of blows my mind the most is how good. Well, I should maybe good. It's cartoony. The graphic practical effects in this, like the whole special effects team deserves a round of applause. Everything was practical, and it is kind of cartoony. First time I watched it, I was like, all right, just because I love blood and gore, and now it's just like, you fucking right, this works, mate. Even 20 years later. 20 years later. The fight sequences are great. The character development throughout, which I think is almost essential to, I'm an essential worker, essential to any action piece now. There was a time when I kind of really went down the rabbit hole of kung fu and foreign action films where I was like, I don't give a fuck about story. Show me what you can do. But, we all get older and mature. People change. I know the internet doesn't think people are allowed to change, but I think people are allowed to change. And you got to have story. I really, really dug the character interactions this time around, watching with a critical eye as opposed to just being there for the entertainment, or as it were, the first few times, bafflement. I was baffled by this movie. I was like, look, it's got a lot of the things that I really like, but I just don't get it. And now I realize I do get it. But I don't have to get it, even though now that I'm older, I do get it. I don't have to always understand to appreciate. Don't pick it apart just because you don't be weirded out just because you haven't seen it, or if it makes you uncomfortable. Life is not comfortable. God damn it, push yourself. Especially, it blows my mind how south we're going on. Watching stuff outside of our comfort zone these days. I feel like when anybody's ever recommending or suggesting something to me, it's always this like safe bet. And I'm not shitting on you guys. Look, it's popular for a reason, right? It just seems like it's repetitive over and over. Well, Sean, there's so much stuff to watch. I would rather pick something that I haven't seen, but I know that I'll probably like, as opposed to just clicking on some rando. Well, I urge you to click on the rando every now and then. You might come across a gem. Well, yeah, it might be shit too, but, them's are the breaks. Don't tell me every fucking movie you look forward to meets your expectations. Don't fucking lie to me. But this one will push you on every single boundary of that. I promise you. I could see at least the audience members listening to this that I know of, that I have interacted with. I think 50% of you would walk the fuck out, and 50% would. I don't really. It's a love or hate thing, and I'm glad that I had a reason to rewatch this, because now I love it, because I get it now. Whereas at the time I was just like, okay, it's got blood, check. Intestines, check. Sword fights, check. Shootouts, check. Zombies, check. Kung fu, check. Wild and crazy characters, check. And I'm ashamed of myself, I tell you. And this Arrow video release, especially seeing all the bonus features. Listen, look what listen to me. Listen to all the shit that Arrow has. Yet again, commentary, which I still love commentaries. I really do. I continue to. It's a waste of time. No, you're a waste of time. I like commentaries. Audio commentary by the director Kitamura and producer Kishiro Shin. You have a Don't Die on Me Now. There we go. You have another commentary with the cast and crew, as well as the director Kitamura. You have a visual essay on the career of Kitamura by Japanese cinema expert Jasper Sharp. You have Behind Verses, a 2-part behind-the-scenes documentary exploring the film's production, and I think it's an hour or two, could be wrong. First Contact versus Evolution, a featurette exploring the film's origins. Tak Sakaguchi, One Man's Journey, an archival featurette on the actor's visit to the 2001 Japan Film Festival, the film festival screening footage, Team Versus, which is a brief look inside the Napalm Films office, Deep in the Woods, an archival featurette which features interviews with the entire cast and crew, and it's archival, so it's from back in the day, which was Wednesday. The Encounter, which is an archival interview with editor Shuichi Kakisu, which, by the way, the editing in this, top notch for being a fucking movie out of 2000. Like, you have to be on point with your beats to make a film like this work, because especially when those action sequences start, they are very like in because of the film's low production, you may not be able to let the film run, which, you know, you take it a little, let the take go long, which, you know, eases the stress of the editor when, you know, they're dealing with longer shots. But in this one, especially during some of those sword fight sequences, you got to be on point. So, actually, that was a really good one, the archival interview with him. I think it was like 19 minutes. You got deleted scenes with audio commentary. You got Nervous and Nervous 2, a 2-side story mini-movie featuring characters from the main feature. You got another featurette of Nervous 2. You got Versus Vision, a condensed 20-minute recut of the film, which I believe doesn't feature any of the gore. And then the Disc 2 is the Ultimate Versus. I shouldn't say that the 20-minute recut of the film doesn't feature any gore. For whatever the fuck reason, I'm just learning that I missed that one. I watched everything up. I watched Nervous. Oh, I'm an asshole. Well, I know what I have to do after this. I'm going to have to watch a 20-minute recut of the film. But, Sean, you're going to release the episode. Yeah, well, OCD's a motherfucker. Disc 2 is the Ultimate Versus. Also get a commentary with Kitamura and the cast and crew. And then you got Sakigaki, Otaku versus Juku, a featurette on the newly shot material of Ultimate Versus. I wish I could. There's so much to love. One, you got to be a horror fan, probably. You can't just be like, oh, I'm an action film fan. Because there's a lot of drama in this, too. There's a lot of good backstory, especially execution is everything. When we go to the past and then present, because this is, you find out that there's been a war waging for thousands of years. Thousands of years. It's the Ultimate Versus. And it is, well, I can't ruin that for you. There's I think the payoff's really good. I think the payoff's strong as fuck. And it's every bit of 2 hours, and it doesn't feel like it. Well, it may feel like it if it's your first time watching it and you're not, super familiar with foreign films. That shit's jarring and long if you're not into it. But I promise you, if you stick with it and then be like, that fuck Sean, I'm never taking another recommendation of a film ever again, I urge you, give it a month, go back and rewatch it. Why in God's name would I do that? Because I think that it'll play better for you. I think there's so much going on in this that there's a lot to appreciate on multiple viewings. Kind of like I won't go as far to say as an Edgar Wright film. I think he may be second to none in terms of rewatchability of his films and being like, oh, everything is connected. Everything leads to the next scene. But it kind of felt like that at times when watching this critically, where I was just like, how did I miss? Why didn't I appreciate it? Oh, God, you're garbage. Music was good. Nobuhiko Marino. Fucking goddamn champion cinematography by Takumi Furuya. Furuya. For this film, because There is a lot of bananas going on. And I would assume that because of the budget, they tried to do the best they could with shooting in natural light, which that is not easy. I guess probably the most popular one that you would know in terms of shooting in natural light would be The Revenant. That was, for the most part, shot in natural light. Oh, and it was a one take. I wink at you, which doesn't work on the podcast, but I wink at you. Yes, it was one cut. It was one take throughout. I wink. Great fucking work by Susumi Nakatani for special effects and makeup. Like I thought some of the Yakuza zombies looked really cool, and I definitely thought that head explosions and other very graphic, awesome. Absolutely, especially my second time around. You want to know what it kind of reminded me of? And I'm sure that this was a fucking. I'm pretty sure I remember watching it on the making of. But Evil Dead would be a movie that comes to mind for this, like Evil Dead with zombie samurai and Yakuza gangsters. Like, just if you can kind of ponder what that would look like, that would be the best. I should have led with that instead of blathering for a fucking half hour. I should have led with. Have you ever seen Evil Dead? Not the newest one, children. I love you, but not those, or not the newest one, which was good, I might add. Just not. Yes, it had elements, of course, that are in the original Evil Dead and 1 and 2 and Army of Darkness. Of course, yes, that's there, but that. I don't know. In terms of tone, we can all agree that is not. The Evil Dead that is held on high, right? So it's just a different thing. You don't have to hate it, because I know horror fans are the worst. I remember when that came out, they were like, "This is not fucking Ash with Bruce Campbell, it fucking suck." And it's like, dude, calm down. It's just, how about if you just appreciate it for what movie it is? And it's pretty awesome, especially because it is fucking gory, which is great. But this is, in terms of Banana Town. This is next level. This is like Evil Dead on crack. With probably a more limited budget, too. I don't remember. I wish I knew the budgets for the Evil Dead films off the top. Obviously, I know the first one, they raised all the money themselves, but I pretty sure that their money continued to get more and more with which is still minimal. But I would be interested to kind of compare and contrast the two, like watch side by side. Okay, well, money's being spent here, and what the totals were. That would be interesting to me. What are you blathering about? I do. I think it would be interesting to kind of compare the two. The budget, and see who did more. I assume that Asia, the Japanese on Versus did more, because that's their way. When they're in 5th grade, they're reading at a college level. We're fat losers. Nah, that's just me. I'm a fat loser. But you know what I'm referring to, right? Get this Arrow release. I have yet to. Yep, I'm going to go ahead and say it. I have yet to get an Arrow video release. Watch, every version of the film, or every commentary of the film, and then watch all the bonus features and have been disappointed. Not once. Maybe one of those interviews on the oh shit, I haven't done those yet. Well, that's coming. The Vengeance, I think it's called Vengeance Trail. It was Arrow's release on 4 Italian westerns. There was a couple interviews where it didn't make a lot of sense to me to have her or him on, but whatever, you're trying, You could say, we don't want to listen to an interview with a composer. I would argue that you're being a goose. Anytime that you can interview a musician is a good day, especially if they're an accomplished one. But I understand the clamoring for actors and actresses and directors. It's just, it's easier for me to talk shop with the crew. Or maybe it's not. Maybe the show's terrible. It probably is. There's shirts now. That makes me feel uncomfortable. It's a weird thing to see someone wearing a shirt with your name on it. it's a weird thing. I can tell you this, I don't like it. I get that the shirts were popular and people like them. It just makes me feel uncomfortable. Sorry. I'm not going back on that. More like I'm appreciative. Hear me. Like, I'm not mad. Like, I'm super appreciative, and I'm glad you guys love them. It makes me feel uncomfortable to see you wear them. Like, I'd say 70-30. 70 discomfort, 30 comfort. I don't know. I'm weird. Some lady told me that she's like, the amount of humble you're being right now makes me sick. And I was like, the idea of you guys, you can have your opinion and I'll have mine. I don't think I'm being humble. I'm just telling you, I get that you appreciate them. Seeing my name on someone else's chest is weird. It makes me feel uncomfortable. The Hunter S. Thompson, the Jack Kerouac of movie podcasters. I don't know if that could be more niche, and I'm definitely not Jack Kerouac. I'm more like Dr. Seuss. Not even as good. The Dr. Seuss of movie podcasts. I'm the Dr. Seuss. Well, you would have to rhyme more. Well, can't always give. It's just it's a likeness. I have a likeness. It's my reading level too. I think this is relatively priced, boys and gals. I wonder if this is streaming anywhere in case you don't want to get the physical without sampling it and spending $30. Well, you can watch it on YouTube for $2. You can watch it on Prime for $4, Apple TV for $4, Google Play Movies for $2. You will not be disappointed. I'm interested, though. You know, we always get some weird... So, like, when I was talking to Steve Wang about Drive, you can stream Drive basically everywhere for free right now. Tubi, Prime, whatever. And it's the theatrical cut as opposed to the director's cut, which Steve saw once, hated, and I agree with him. But that's a bummer. So I would be interested, but not a vast difference between the theatrical and ultimate verses. But I'd be, if you guys watch it, I don't know, DM me a runtime and let me know. Because, I'm not going to pay $4 to find out. I already own it. You figure it out. But DM me and let me know what the runtime is, and I'll be able to tell you if it's the ultimate or if it's the theatrical. Both, like I said, relatively the same in insanity. So have fun. I don't know, smoke a bowl, have a drink, do whatever you got to do, or none of that. Just go into it based off my recommendation and nuttiness. Like, I feel like I should mention again, they're at the site of the 444th portal of the 666 hidden gates. It also has gangster shootouts, sword slashing violence, and gory zombie horror. Don't forget that. So when you go into it, what does the Google synopsis say? A group of ruthless gangsters, an unknown woman, and an escaped convict meet in the Forest of Resurrection, the 444th portal to the other side. Their troubles start when they once killed and buried. When those once killed, buried... Fucking gives you 3 different... Even the Rotten Tomatoes one says something different. What is with this? Why can't everybody be on the same page for foreign cinema? God damn it. I get confused. I am easily confused. And I'm a gullible. Fuck. Versus Arrow Video release. Whoa, now. Promise you. Worth every penny. The movie alone, even if you're not a bonus features person, the movie alone is woo-wee. And stick with the humor. I promise they're trying to make you laugh. It's not a serious movie. Samurais and zombies and fucking Yakuza gangster shootouts. Go on now. Ella Cinema. Arrow Video versus Arrow Video release. Go on.